Thermal Soundwaves. We are talking to Miss Gloria Govan, actress, model, chef, basketball player, mom, et cetera, et cetera.
All right, so you talk about the whole football thing, you deal with the whole basketball thing. Now, what's going on with you in this UFC thing, Ultimate Fighter Championship thing?
Actually, you said UFC?
Yes, UFC.
Matt is actually a huge fan of UFC. I think it's really starting to take over boxing.
It has.
Matt actually...
It has.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think a lot of people think that boxing is fixed, and, you have the whole Mayweather and, Pacquiao controversy. So I think a lot of people have turned to UFC. I wasn't a fan of it because I didn't really like, the violence and the blood, and, I was girly, but now I started to get into it, and now I've become a fan. Uriah is a good friend of ours.
Uriah Faber?
Anderson Silva is a good friend of ours, so I've become a fan, so I like it.
Now, but you're also going to be doing some work with UFC, correct?
I did.
Like a partnership?
I did a commercial with Anderson Silva for it. Because, when Fox bought them out, I did a few commercials with Anderson for it.
Wow, so Fox did buy them out.
Yeah, they did. And they spent a lot of money to get them.
Dana White. That's good, Dana White.
Dana White. Farida,
it's a small move because boxing is dead. It's been that way for a minute.
The boxing back in the days, used to come on Channel 5.
Yeah, it used to come on a lot of places.
Yeah, it used to come on Channel 5. It used to come on CBS.
But it just there are no marquee fights either. It's like, who do you really want to see fight besides Mayweather and Pacquiao? There's nobody.
Nobody's big enough to fight the Klitschko brothers.
There's nobody.
So then you have nobody, and it's a whole bunch. I don't want to say it's a whole bunch of no names, but it's a whole bunch of good fighters, but no stars. And that's what it came down to. And if there's no stars, then it's like, are you serious? Pacquiao versus Marquez Part 5. Like, you got to watch it again. They fight each other all the time. So people kind of get bored with it. And I know some boxing people, even Floyd Mayweather Jr. try to say, MMA is horrible. It's not that good. They're trying to use it in order to stop people from watching boxing. But to wait a year for somebody to fight.
Yeah, I know. That's another thing. The turnaround in boxing is just too long. Like, people, it's out of sight, out of mind. You kind of forget that even exists after a while. You're like, oh, people still box? You're like, what the? So I think UFC, there's matches on all the time. And, you can catch it on Fox. You don't always have to order the fight and it's just a little bit more common and has much easier access.
And despite how much people may think about how gory it may be, you're actually safer than playing football.
Yeah, with all the contact you are. And, these people are really skilled. Like, it's just, it's a combination of capoeira and taekwondo and karate. And, it's just, you really have to appreciate and respect how much in shape they are, and, how just, almost kind of lethal. Like, when I met Anderson, he's not tiny, but I was looking at him like, holy, this guy could kick me one time and be like, I don't know why, but that, for me, I'm like, dang, that's so much training, and going kind of back to football, that's so much discipline, to have that much discipline and training, that's just...
You've been training, haven't you?
I respect that.
You've been taking some classes, haven't you?
I have. Actually, for the movie role I had to do, I had to learn taekwondo and karate and boxing, actually. My character, I was an assassin at night and a ballet dancer during the day, and I had to learn ballet as well. So I had to do, 3 days every day for a month straight. So I really learned, the art kind of UFC, which was really dope. Like
the black fighting swan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, basically. That's a good way. I never heard that way.
All right, and you owe us on that. We go take that, when you go and you talk about that, the black fighting swan, make sure we get our
your shout-outs, your credits.
No, we don't care about a shout-out. Yeah, shout-out's cool, too, but we want the money.
IMDb. I want to see it on IMDb.
Yeah, for sure.
Got it. Well, I'm going to make sure this part of the interview is deleted so there's no evidence.
You can't do that because we have about 5 tapes of it, plus a backup of those. 5? Yes, and backups of those as well.
Okay.
Exactly. So we all covered.
Were you taking some of these classes also for self-defense for some of these girls from that reality show you was on, Basketball Wives?
That's funny. No.
You're laughing.
It came to a point where I was like, ooh, I wish I could use my moves on you. But
who's you?
Who's
you?
Oh, you're gonna have to wait and see. I can't give it up.
Well, I mean, from the last couple of shows you were on, season, it looked like some girls are trying to get at you, and
Absolutely.
it looked like you got to protect yourself.
No, I know. I mean, but see, it's such a thin line because I have on one end, I have my management. Everyone's like, you can't fight on TV, and that's not what And I'm always, kind of saying, that I don't like the violence. There shouldn't be a violence on TV, and we should represent ourselves differently. So I can't really be like a walking contradiction. I agree with you in terms of self-defense, but. I also do have to watch, like things
you gotta watch Evelyn.
Yeah, exactly, because I can't not fall into, but I'm always kind of like, reprimanding the violence and the way that we talk and, that kind of stuff and our behavior. So I can't say that one, and then the next episode I'm like launching across the table, like, you know what I mean? So I just have to be conscious of that. But there were times where I was like, oh man, I was like, well, I have to go home.
You don't want Evelyn to try to throw that glass at you. You got to make sure you put Evelyn in her place.
No, I mean, that was one thing. Everyone, they were like, well, if they hit you or try to hit you first, like, we can't say anything then, but don't instigate anything. I'm like, all right, I won't.
You just put them hands on her. Yeah, put in that arm bar and look at Evelyn in the face,
right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So, yeah. But no, trust me, there are times. I mean, and it's funny because, the boys take karate. And they actually, I'm really blessed because at one point they were able to go on set with me and watch me, in like do the movie scenes and stuff like that. And they would come home and they would reenact everything I did. It was really awesome to see. So it was cool. So
this Thermal Soundwaves Radio, WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem, the voice of the whole world. Give us a call, 212-650-6903. Now, what made you get into this whole reality show thing? Like where did that come about?
Honestly, it was kind of a fluke. Shaunie O'Neal was at one point a good friend of my sister and I, and she had basically just approached us both about being on the show. My sister was unable to do it, but it kind of made more sense because we played on Phoenix together the year before, and she lived in Orlando at the time, so. Matt played on the Magic, and she asked me about it, and they explained what the show was supposed to be about, and then Matt and I talked about it, and it took a lot for me to convince him, kind of having him view this as an opportunity and a foundation, and so on and so forth. But he finally kind of gave in and supported my decision. So yeah, it kind of really all happened very randomly. But I have to pay my homage to Basketball Wives because I wouldn't be where I'm at without it. So,
what do you mean that the show was supposed to be?
They had sold the show to us, and when I say us, Matt and I, that it was going to be all positive, and they were going to show the philanthropy that we do, and going to show, us having to deal with men being on the road, and they're gone. They play 8 months, they're gone for 4, and just really more so the lifestyle and the things that the wives have to go through and, very family-oriented. So I was like, oh, yeah, perfect. Matt's mom has passed away of cancer, really. But
rest in peace, Mrs. Barnes, Mama Barnes.
Oh, thank you. So we started a foundation called Atheletes versus Cancer, and so that was one of the main things that we felt like there was going to be a great opportunity to showcase the foundation, and bring awareness to the foundation because they were going to show us doing philanthropy, which a lot of the wives actually do. But it turned into this whole other monster, which is kind of crazy. But,
Do you think that, because you said that you and Shaunie used to be friends, is it y'all used to be friends because of what she said about your sister sleeping with her husband?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that obviously, had a huge toll. And I think just even after, not to say that I'm going to, take her side at any point in time, but I felt like, not only was she wrong, but a lot of her anger was directed towards the wrong person. You know what I mean? I think...
so your sister did sleep with her But they were broken up though.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right. So so it was just kind of like, in my opinion, it was just it was really overwhelming. I always felt like I was on the defense, and I felt like this show had really become about that. About just my sister and having to defend her all the time, and all the girls were Shaunie's friends or are Shaunie's friends, so it was really just me against them. And, so I felt like everything that the show really sold and what it was supposed to be about just wasn't, it wasn't about that at all. And so we used to be friends, but now we no longer
so
are.
It was a setup.
Matt always says that. Matt was like, they set you up. But honestly, I think that, really, no one really wants to see, the audience doesn't want to see all of us like skipping down the street holding hands, and I understand that now. Back then, because it's my 4th season, with a combination of both shows. But back then I was like, this show they're liars, and how dare you, and always just angry. But now I get it. It's really, like I said, just become its own like monster. But it was. I felt like at the time, it was definitely a setup.
It's Thermal Soundwaves here on WHCR 90.3 FM, New York. We're talking to Miss Gloria Govan here on the program. One last question before we have to go. What did you learn from Mr. Ted Turner, Old Gray Mustache?
Ted Turner?
Because you got the chance to speak to him, right?
Billionaire Ted?
I did, yeah, I do. I'm hosting a show called Backstage Confidential, and you're speaking of the time that I hosted the red carpet at the Trumpet Awards in Atlanta.
Yes.
And he was really sweet. He's honestly a man of little words. Believe it or not, his wife does a lot of the talking. He's a genius. Obviously, he's he's a billionaire. But he honestly, I didn't get a chance to sit and just chat with him. We talked to him about his philanthropy, and we talked to him about his business ventures, and it was just kind of cool in general just to be in his presence, being next to somebody that, has created such a huge impact in just society in general, was really awesome. But I wish I had a chance to talk to him about business and, how he got started and that kind of stuff. But hopefully next time, if I ever get a chance to meet him again.
Absolutely, definitely.
Yeah. We gotta give a shout out to your what's his name? Your PR guy, Haru.
Oh, Kwesi.
Yes.
Kwesi Gaharo. No, he's a hustler for sure. I definitely have to give a shout out to him. He does an amazing job.
Big up to Kwesi. I had a good friend in junior high named Kwesi too.
Really? I feel like he was the only person in the world that had that name.
Man, everybody got that name Kwesi. He ain't got that name.
Depending on what part of the world you're in, you'll find some other Kwesis.
And shout out to Derek Mack, because he was actually Derek Mack made this all happen.
Thank you very much.
So once again, let everybody know what you have on the horizon within the next year.
I have a cookbook coming out, a show premiering called Backstage Confidential in January, a movie premieres next month, and then I start a few different projects. In the following next month, I'm hosting Kevin Hart's New Year's comedy show at the Staples Center. I feel like next year is just really going to be huge because I have all this stuff kind of rolling out. So, keep a lookout for me. Basketball Wives is the only thing that I do.
And don't forget about the big basketball match you have.
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna. That needs to be like televised. Press needs to come out. We need to make this like a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So who's your 5? Who's your 5 on your squad?
Oh, now we need a 5. I thought it was just me and you. No, you want me to recruit some girls?
I don't want to get Matt Barnes mad, just me and you. Because come on now, you may have to leave.
Come on now.
No, but who's gonna be your 5? Who would be your 5 in the basketball?
It's gonna be like me, my sister,
Laura. Right?
Probably, my best friend. I'm thinking, honestly, I would have Jackie on my team because she's
Jackie Christie?
I feel like she could put her shoulder down, you know what I mean, and like really stop you.
Wait, you said Jackie Christie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why are you trying to say she's going to play the power forward?
She could go hard in the post. I believe that.
Right? I think so, too.
I believe that 100%.
Like, no one's allowed in this area.
She's Shaq.
What about Royce?
Yeah. Royce is a little feisty, but I don't know if she has any, skill,
she'll fall out. She'll fall out.
But honestly, I would have Evelyn, because I think she plays dirty. I think she'd be, in the post, using your shins when you were shooting,
Was it?
So I have her on my team.
Okay. Well, our center is gonna be Shaunie. Shaunie gonna be in our center. See if we get through that.
Hey, I'm gonna put my sister on there. It'll get even better. And then I'll have Jen on the team too because she's tall, or maybe Brooke. Honestly, I think I'll have Brooke Bailey up there, and she'll just stand there, put her hands up because she's tall.
Well, then we got Shaq.
Ankles for broken.
You're enough.
Yeah, Shaq for Laura.
You're silly.
Yeah. Thank you very much for being on the program.
Of course, you guys. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So shout out to you.
Absolutely.
Shout out to the guy name we said again. What's his name? Your guy you said
Kwesi.
Shout out to Kwesi and Derek Max for making this all happen. And shout out to you and shout out to your kids. You know, last thing we got to kick out, but shout out to you for being a parent first.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, of course. What?
It seemed like a lot of people used to say, well, she doesn't look like she's ready for the drama. She shouldn't be on the show. And I'm like, you know what? That's not really a bad thing. You know, so shout out to you for being about that.
It's the real world, actually.
Yeah, I guess the reason why you're not on the show that much anymore. Or like
people don't really live like that.
Because it's like, you know, I guess you probably realize that they got you. Shaunie got you.
No, she definitely got me. But, you know, like I said, I had to take the time, it took me a while to realize. But now that I have, I feel like I've turned it into something a bit more positive for myself, and I've created a brand and used it as a foundation. But you're right. That's honestly not my life. I think that's what frustrates me the most is people really take it seriously. Like the audience or people or fans, like they really are invested and take it seriously. And it's hard for me to try to explain that, we kind of live two different lives. We live the basketball life, and then we live our real life. Because, I'm real life right now. I'm in sweats, my hair's stoned up, no makeup, and, I'm about to put the kids to sleep. You know what I mean? So
yes,
that's real life. So, yeah, but thanks. I appreciate that, you guys.
Definitely. And we'll definitely be following up, course, with everything that we spoke about, the credits, the basketball game, and so forth.
Okay. Let me know. I'm here. Yeah. Thanks, you guys, for having me again.
I'm coming in with Dre.
Take care.
Yeah, me and Dre coming
Bye,
through.
you guys.
All right, bye. It's Thermal Soundwaves, and that's alternative to fast food radio.